I do. Yeah, I've had that experience that
Alex?
Alex has had with a man I was in a relationship with some years ago.
Yep.
Quite a lot of times, or 4 times or something, and it was just amazing. Like, we just felt so at one, and we wasn't during sex or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure he wasn't my soulmate. Is that still possible with?
Yes, it is still possible.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about why. The reason why is that often spirits are attracted to us under certain conditions, who themselves want to have a relationship in the spirit world. And what they do is they use our relationship to consummate their relationship. All right? We were up at Mackay recently, and a lady came up to us and talked to us about this happening to her. And it's happened to many, many people, of course. And do you understand what I mean by this? I could have an emotion as a male that I'm a bit overbearing, a bit controlling. I view women sort of I'm sort of like a bit of a power freak with women, let's say, and so forth. And that's going to attract a man who is in the same condition in the spirit world, who's earthbound, to connect with me, to use me to connect with women who he wants to treat the same way. Does that make sense? And there could be a woman on the other end, connected to another lady on earth, who has a feeling of, she wants to be dominated a bit by men, wants to be like secure, feel secure, that's her hook, but she might feel like she gets sexually turned on when the man's a bit dominant. Do you know what I mean? And so the two of them can connect with each other. And now these two may meet up in the spirit world, and because they're in different locations in spirit, usually in the first sphere in different locations, they use the people to connect with each other sexually and emotionally. So it may not be a sexual connection, it may be an emotional connection. And what often can occur then is this person gives to this person the same kind of feeling as what Alex was describing. Does that make sense? And this person gives to this person the same kind of feeling. And so now they think, we must be together, we're meant to be together and everything. And then 3 months later they realise that actually they're not meant to be together, and it all happened. And this lady, after a while, understood what was happening, and she could feel the spirit with her, and the spirit that was with her doing it was a woman spirit who had been imprisoned, interned in a camp in the Second World War, in an Italian prison camp, I think it was, in the Second World War. And the man who she was connecting to through the partner was the man who actually was a guard who had sex with her when she was in prison in the war. And they entered this sort of abusive relationship, and which they then used people on earth to carry out.
Like, even though that experience felt so loving and positive, it didn't feel like...
The truth is, you can connect emotionally to any person on the planet, right? So that doesn't mean that they're soulmates necessarily, does it? The key with the soulmate connection is it is going to be a sexual connection as well as an emotional connection, as well as many other connections will occur as well. And you'll know the difference between the two when you feel it. But how do you know he wasn't your soulmate?
Well, he's left in with another woman.
So?
He's not my soulmate, is he?
Why don't you feel he's your soulmate, Louisa? Because he's with another woman?
I had some judgment about him.
Okay, let's talk about the judgment. What was the judgment you had? It's all right to be honest.
He was a bit goofy and...
Okay. No.
He wasn't my idea of a man.
Yes, and this is the stuff I want to talk to you about.
And there was some dark stuff in his childhood I felt quite uncomfortable with.
You felt repulsed by?
Repulsed, yeah.
Yes. Yep. Can you see why I want to talk to you about all that? Because he could have been your soulmate.
He could have been.
And you rejected your soulmate because your judgment of goofiness and your judgment of childhood issues and your judgment... It's quite that simple to reject your soulmate. See, every rejection of our soulmate is based upon emotional injuries. And if you think about it, what you're relating is a lot of emotional injury-based reasons as to why you rejected somebody. So yeah, he could have been your soulmate. And this is also a truth that many of you have met your soulmates, but you just didn't know it at the time, right? Because you didn't want to know it at the time, because it wasn't your ideal version of your soulmate. Does that make sense? And this is something we need to really address, emotionally address. And this is why I want to get into the emotional discussion after I've discussed the technicals, is because if we do not address those issues, you can be brought face to face with your soulmate and not know, right? And walk away from them and think someone totally different is your soulmate because you don't want to address the emotional issues inside of yourself as the reason why you rejected them. So this is why it's so important to deal with the emotions, right? Because yes, some people's soulmates appear goofy, right? And some people's soulmates don't appear very intelligent at all. And some people's soulmates actually are just downright nasty. Because every single person on the planet has one. Has a soulmate, I mean. So, you know, are there nasty people on the earth? Yes. So one of them might be your soulmate. You know? Can you see how if we judge things through sort of the physical and also through our preconceptions usually about ideals with relation to parents, then what happens is we often reject our own soulmate in the process. Yeah. And this is why it's very important to work through these issues. Does that make sense? It's a good question, Louise. Good question.